It's basically an H.264 encoder, is that right?
H.264 files. If I open one up, there it is there. H.264. So we've had to work enormously hard to get a complete H.264 encoder product into such a small USB size, but if you want to go to different types of devices, we've got iPod small, iPod large, YouTube, Apple TV, which seems to be the same size, iPhone, and of course full resolution.
Just a minute, ladies and gentlemen, I think something is happening.
Okay, Grant, so what are we looking at now?
What we're looking at here is Blackmagic video recorder. This is the consumer version of the product, which has got analog component in. We've got 3 component connections and the audio connections. This is the product here we put in front, so it's very compact. We've got a little USB extension cable plugged into the iMac here. This is the video recorder software. So as you can see, it's very, very simple. You've got crop marks. So in the case of this video here, if we were recording this off our home movie or something like that, we've got letterboxing and we've also got a blanking mark down the side. So what you can do is you can bring the crop mark down. And you can bring the crop mark down here, get rid of a bit of that blanking, and then now what you do when you record, you see the counter's running, the audio's pumping. It'll now record your movie nice and cropped, so you get a good clean movie, edge to edge. You see it's all right out to the edges, so it's really nice to get rid of that analog blanking. So when you upload to YouTube or you go into your iPhone, you get a really clean picture all across the screen. If you want to go to different types of devices, we've got iPod small, iPod large, YouTube, Apple TV, which seems to be the same size, iPhone, and of course full resolution.
Shouldn't you be able to do one encode that will work on iPod, iPhone, and Apple TV?
Yeah, I think if you do iPod small, it'll work on every product. But of course you won't get the best resolution on the bigger devices. So I think if you do a larger, like iPod large encode, I think it won't work on the original iPods.
Okay.
But it works on everything else. So
iPod small will work on everything, but not with the full resolution that you
exactly.
might want.
Like an iPhone's got a higher resolution screen than the original iPod. So you really want to encode on a larger size if you're going to be using products like that. $119, just those files now can all be sunk straight into your iPhone or your iPod. So it's a really fun and easy product to use, and I think it looks great.
But you can also, it's basically an H.264 encoder, is that right?
H.264 files. If I open one up, there it is there. H.264. And it's slightly less than full resolution because we cropped it a little bit.
Now, when I first started looking at H.264, I was spending unimaginable amounts of time encoding on my G5, which is what I was using back then.
Yeah, so that's the great thing about video recorder, because it records into H.264. You don't need to do any rendering to get it to your iPod. And also the good thing is you can use much slower computers because all the work is done in the device itself. So we've had to work enormously hard to get a complete H.264 encoder product into such a small USB size, but we knew if we did that, you can drop it in your laptop bag, you can have it available with your with your computer. So everything can be benefit from being small. I don't know any product that can really be better because it's bigger. It's much better when they're small. So it's a real challenge to get the whole H.264 encoder down in such a small size with basically broadcast quality analog video. The analog video on this and the analog audio are off the Multi-Bridge Eclipse product because we didn't want to do kind of a junky product. We wanted a really good quality product so that it lives up to that name we're trying to create, which is like really about quality.
You're very proud of this, aren't you?
Oh, I just love it. It's fun. It's like, all these other products are great, but you've kind of got to do video editing and a job to actually appreciate them. This thing I can just take home and play with it at night. It's fun. So that's it's kind of like it's a very different kind of feel, I guess. To doing all the professional products are great, but they're it's business to business. It's like people are doing business. That's fun, but this one's different. I can just potter with it, without needing to do anything. I feel like I've got to work when I'm using the broadcast, post-production products, whereas this song, I feel like I can play with it. So it's sort of a more fun use, I guess. So.
It reminds me of 2 years ago when I spoke to you that you had the same enthusiasm for Intensity then.
Yeah, Intensity was fun. I think we got a dose of that from Intensity, because you can play with that too, but ultimately it's still about work, So I think there's sort of in some ways I feel like this is our first pleasure product, whereas the other ones are work products, you know, so they're both important and fun, but this is just, you know, I can enjoy this some way, so.
So in summary, you can encode to Apple TV, you can encode to the iPhone, you can encode to iPod,
YouTube,
okay,
and full resolution, of course, so you can back up your tapes.
And there's a professional version and there's a consumer version.
Yeah, the professional one's SDI with deck control, and the consumer one is just analog. But it's analog component, composite, S-video, and also analog audio.
That's pretty high-end consumer.
It is, yeah. It's really nice. I mean, it costs a little bit more to do it, to put good quality analog components in, but I think when you do it in the end, you get a better result for it, and I think it's worth it.
Is this product now shipping?
In July when we get the plastics.
Right, fantastic.
We're still waiting for the production.
Video.